we want to talk about, okay, now there's always a equilibration going on, because where we can find vast abilities of artificial intelligence to evolve, let me tell you where the equilibration is, Brother Shem, and absolute intelligence. And so now we can delve into what is the human technology that's so far and beyond, because just think about it. The creator of the technology had to be more sophisticated to create the technology that was created. But we get tricked and we start thinking, wait a minute, because we get lazy, right? We start relying on something that's easier, appears to be easier, right? And for some situations that's okay, but if we stop the neurological act of our brain and our mind, then we start dumbing ourselves down, right? And then we start being dysfunctional when it comes to basic things that we operate in terms of human behavior. And so now when we're talking about technology, 1260 frequency, this is like a crossroads. This is like a juncture in the road, right? This is the point where you can say, well, I want to master the artificial world, and I want to take all of my spiritual power and energy and put into that. And that would be fine if you decided to do that. A lot of people have done that, and you know, they're going to master this artificial 1/10 of the whole equation, right? And then there's those that say, but wait a minute, if I master the 1/10, then there's still something in the matrix that's controlling my reality. Let's play this. Let's say it's influencing my reality tremendously. And so if I want to be the influencer of my own reality, or you're thinking this and you're listening to this, you may want to tap into, well, how do I tap into the other 9/10? Dolphins and whales are said to be the most intelligent species. They use about 20% of their brain capacity, brain power. And so they have like a sonar system in their brain. They're very, but do you know we have that too? We just don't big enough to activate it. Because why do we need telepathy when we can communicate on these smartphones? You know, I like how you said we could be dumb talking on these smartphones, and we actually feel smart because we got our God now is Google. Our God is, you know, YouTube. But there's something greater when we talk about the noosphere, the collective consciousness on the planet. And so we truly are moving from the information age, misinformation age, into the telepathic age. Well, what frequency do we need to operate at in order to do that? We call that the 1320 frequency. And as I mentioned, Brother Shem, and when we talk about decimal counts by 10, and it's a binary code. But the numbering system for nature is said to be the vigesimal system, the vigesimal system that counts by 20. And 20 is the number of totality. You see? So when we're operating from whole paradigms, not partial ones, we can now really tap in to the deepest essence of what we have to offer that's above and beyond the body, and more into the spiritual medium and the electronic light body, the fifth dimension. And so in being able to do that, this awakens us to what I would call, and I have experienced, the supramental act, that the mind and the brain are so different. The brain is the instrument that gives you access to the mind, but the mind is an infinitum. There's no limit to it. So that means the whole cosmos could be the mind. So the question is, what do you need to tap into that's beyond the 1/10? What is your galactic purpose here on Earth? Is it just to make money? Or is the Earth in a transitional period that is drawing in galactically conscious individuals that are able to realize their purpose far and beyond the material purposes that we've deemed for ourselves? What you got to say about that, Brother Shem?
Yeah, brother, that resonates with me a lot. And what you just said brought back to something that when I saw you was building with Brother Sobek, he said something real beautiful. He said about being in the world but not of it. And the reason why that resonated with me is because you realize that that's an old saying we've all heard before, right? In the Bible, etc. But it also spoke to my kin number. My kin number is kin 6. So that's the white rhythmic world bridger, which bridges the known and the unknown, the seen and the unseen, the manifest and the unmanifest, guided by death, which we teach in more science. Death is no enemy to man. It is a friend, that cuts the cord to let the human boat sail to smoother sea. So it's an issue of transition. So when I'm saying that is to say that what we're dealing with here is knowing our true, like you said, totality, like that 20 is resonating with the totality. We have to get back into that holistic frame of mind and not be so compartmentalized, where we're truly dealing with everything from. That's how the ancients were. That's how our ancestors were. We truly dealt with everything, not in sections, but as a whole. And I think that's where we need to be in totality. Absolutely, absolutely. Hollow mind, perceive. This game, I'm saying. So, I really think that what we're having here, this conversation, is really of value to the people. I see got 12 people on the live, and I think it's just going to continue growing. And it's a beautiful thing where brothers can build and share the knowledge from one particular perspective of knowledge or background and to another and see the commonality, because really truth is but one. Truth is but one. And we can definitely see that, and like minds can see that. So I appreciate what you're saying.
It's so important.
Yes, sir.
To understand what in here being compartmentalized always allows your frequency to be hijacked. Absolutely, because once we start sectioning ourselves out, see, it's really interesting. I really appreciate that comment. We can say misalignments are malignant, and a malignant cell has no reference to the whole. It only focuses on this one part. So the cells in our body, they operate differently than what they were designed to, and this is what we call it turns into cancer, right? And so we have a lot of that going on, or virus, and we have viruses in technology. We have viruses that are in human technology. And so one of the reasons why I'm talking about this, because when we're talking about technology, many of us are not familiar with the human technology that can turn on our whole mind and operate from that, then the greatest potential of 1/10. So in being able to do this, think about this, it evolves to the level where we're using more. The way we perceive in our life is going to be different. And now this is from a perspective. I like teaching and talking because there's no absolute here deeming this from. But what I will say is, from this perspective, I'm speaking of self-acceptance. And on the road to enlightenment, on the road to self-mastery, we reach a point of self-acceptance, which a lot of people, this is what I used to think, that self-acceptance thing as it is. That's not self-acceptance from this perspective. From this perspective, we're saying that self-acceptance, the source of my experience. Now, let's sink in for a moment. When we're in the binary code, there's a programmer, and when we're dealing in the matrix is run by artificial laws that turn into illusions, and it also is ran by programs. Law, they're operating based on programs We were programmed through these emotions, right, to respond certain way from television, from younger, from when we were younger, and all kind of things. And we watch these programs, and now they become a part of our subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind just repeats what we think and feel and what we do all the time. And we turn around and judge it. So about being misaligned into this technology, it's taking us down a path that there is no return. What I want everybody to be introduced to is, wait a minute, but is there an equivalency here with the human technology? And there is. You know, we call it the hollow mind perceiver, which is right in the center of the corpus callosum. It's telepathically imprinted by way of the pineal gland, right? That allows third eye, the first eye. I like to call it the all-seeing eye because it can see all, right? It's vision. You can see all without your eyes being open. You can see visions. This is what makes seers. They can see in other dimensions. And the type of things, you know, when we're dealing with the mimic school of evolution, I talk to seers all the time. They can see dead people. They can see spirits. They can see auras. They can see all these different things. Don't talk about it because most of the time, if somebody finds out, they'll be considered a mutant and they'll be taken to the 6th ward and they'll be put in a straitjacket and doped up. So they don't say nothing. But I get to talk to and learn and teach with these individuals. So when we're talking about these technologies, let's talk about really quickly the chakras, the 7 chakras. We have the crown chakra, that's signified by 1,000-petal lotus. Into the crown or the top of the brain, into the plasma, the corpus callosum that connects the left and right hemisphere of the brain is plasma. Semi-liquid electricity is what plasma is, right? That seeps down in cerebral spinal fluid down through the spine, through all the chakras. So we have the crown, and then we have the root. The root balances off the crown, right? Then we have the all-seeing eye balanced off by the sacral chakra, right? Then we have the throat chakra balanced off by the solar plexus chakra. It's a spiral. And then the heart chakra is in. Now, what does that energy do? Well, it connects to 7 different energy vectors in the brain. So when we meditate and we do synchrogalactic yoga, different types of yoga, to with our thought forms to send out messages and return our spiritual and physical equivalency into our reality. That's what happens. Now think about that technology. If you get good at that technology, if we get good at texting that to our brain, from our brain out to the ethers, and it's going to return not a message, but it's going to return some instructions on how an instruction on how to feed the hungry. It's going to create instructions on how to stop child trafficking. It's going to create a technology and instruction on how to do these things. That's what the internet does, but we haven't realized it enough to intend it. These are the technologies that we want to talk about balancing so that we as whole beings now can move into has been actually, we've been compartmentalized into using just this linear portion. The logical left brain, right, deals with logic and reasoning. And so how is that coded? Through binary code, right? So this emotional right side of the brain, you're responsible for that. That's your spiritual and your emotional intelligence. That type of intelligence is linked to absolute intelligence, not artificial intelligence. And so if we could just clear the chatter long enough to receive these transmissions from higher mind, we will receive instructions on what to do next. Now, the question is, for those listening, is can we follow instructions? Well, I don't like. hell bent on what's going on, you're not going to listen to the intention. And then boom, now that's on for that to happen, that comes forth. And so that drop out the sky because the technology that we want to tap in. Use that technology can help us with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love what you said in the beginning about self-acceptance being that I am the creator of my own create. It's just what you're talking about, being a creator. One thing we teach in more science is that we are creators. We create our own heaven, or we can create our own hell. It still boils down to us. And really, I would say to what you're saying is you mentioned about the aspect of, I want to say, you talked about the frequency earlier, dealing with the frequency of what we can do to manifest something and listening within. One thing we teach in more science is about listening to the still small voice. And to your point about technology, technology is the chatter. The artificial technology, I would say, becomes the chatter where we get into the entertainment. Or, as I would like to say, entertainment is when you enter detainment, right? So, which is the focusing, locking in your mind. Like, am I detained? You holding back. So we have to be able to be free in terms of allowing the energies, like you talk about the chakras, the flow. I love this. There was an analogy was given in a cartoon about how the chakras is like pools of water, and it can be blocked, but if you open them up, it just links water because water constantly flows, right? That's what we're doing. We're activating and unlocking it so everything flows. And then when we do that, the universe works with us. That's truly what it is. The universe works with us, you know? So we have to, if someone would say, take that step towards God, it'll take 10 steps towards you. Well, that's what it is. That's truly what it is when you go within and do that meditation and the proper breathing and all of that. So absolutely, it would help. That's what I would say.
Well, I tell you, you know, we definitely gave an earful today, and we can go deeper and deeper and deeper. So we got to do this again next Tuesday, right, Brother Shem? I could tell that people are being stimulated, and we got people talking about the airbenders and the avatar, all kind of stuff. But how do we know? We talk about this all the time, that the 7 chakras and the 7 radio plasmas gives us access to the 7 different dimensions. And there's that number again, 7. The universe thinks, the cosmic thinking layers, we call it the mental spheres. How the mental, and when we look at symbolism, there's an individual that we study called Pakal, and he is Olmec Mayan god, pretty much, Dimac. And in his sarcophagus, he had a sphere, and he had, in his other hand, he had a cube. And in the sphere represented consciousness. There's that 360, right? And then the cube represented all the possibilities in the universe. So when you put the sphere and the cube together with that,
No, they said that you're chopping. You're kind of choppy. Yeah. I can hear you. You just froze, but I was able to hear you. Yeah.
I need to stand up. Okay, copy. Okay. I'm not sure what choppiness is coming from. Maybe I just need to go a little bit further down. I see.
You was dropping a lot of bombs, brother.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap up here. And, what I was going to say, is it sound choppy to you?
I hear you now. You was choppy earlier.
To the left, is it still choppy?
But yeah, I was just saying,
they may can't hear it. I'm not sure. They may jump off and jump back on and see if they can hear better. So I got on my bars. Is it still choppy? Yeah, I should be good.
I hear you clear.
Let's get out now so we can close out. Is it still the echo? Is it still the alien echo right now? All right. So it's still choppy. All right, we're gonna go ahead and close out because I don't see much I can do with the choppiness. But in this, let's continue to be able to take this human technology. Now we teach this. We follow the sacred cycles of the 260 expressions of the Creator, which also represents the gestation period. Us from inception to incarnation to get here with a physical body, and my thought process is let's continue to delve into these areas so that we become aware of these faculties, and of course ultimately we're able to use the human technology more than the technology, the artificial technology. The human technology is linked to absolute intelligence. And to be able to allow us to do that is a huge catapult in terms of mental, spiritual evolution of the human. So a lot of it, we're trapped in the body, so we're not really able to tap in and use as much as we think, right, or as we would like. And like today, kid number 34 on the Zolkin calendar, the sacred calendar, which is white galactic wizard, and this is significant because one of the technologies taps us into, of course, the summer solstice. Energy is able to help us tap into an aspect energetically of the galaxy that can inform us of some great things through the power of light. In the northern hemisphere, there's hemispheres in the brain. Okay, and so with that, I like to say the affirmation harmonize in order to enchant, right? Modeling receptivity. This is the affirmation for kid number 34. I feel the output of timelessness, the galactic tone of integrity. I am guided by the power of endlessness. So there's no end to this, right? I harmonize in order to enchant. Modeling receptivity. I seal the output of timelessness with the galactic tone of integrity. I am guided by the power of endlessness. Time to lock it in. I harmonize in order to enchant. Modeling receptivity. I seal the output of timelessness with the galactic tone of integrity. I am guided by the power of endlessness. Ashe, Ashe, and Asheo. We got to do this again, family. We apologize if there was some choppiness, so you couldn't hear some of it. Hopefully it's not like that on the recording. But we're going to come back here. We're doing a series of these with Brother Sobek and Brother Shem, and we also have a brother Neil. So we're coming together to teach this science so that we can use our critical thinking to empower us to tap into the human technology that we already have that's going to help us evolve versus just artificial intelligence evolving. Okay? So with that being said, we're very excited about having these conversations. We're going to be right back here on next Tuesday at 7, and hopefully we test it out a little bit better so everybody can have a different experience. Thank you for joining in. Brother Shem, do you have any final comment before we go?
Just that I really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to the next time we can do this again. I really enjoyed it. Peace to the family. Well, that's it.
And listen, I highly encourage you, any of you that have not already tapped into the Mimic School of Evolution, inbox me so I can, get you your number. And those of you that inbox me today, I'll do a brief consult to help you, orient you, so you're not so spooked out. If this is your first time hearing about this, how this will align you now so that you can evolve later. All right? So with that being said, peace. Thank you, Brother Shem, for all that you do. And check out Brother Shem. Brother Shem, go ahead and mention the books and how people can get access to purchase the books that you've written before we go, just so we have it on the record. I had a sheet with me that I wrote it down on. So if you could go ahead and communicate that, we'll go ahead and get off of here.
Absolutely. So, who is Elohim? Titles of my books: Who is Elohim? What is the higher self? How many days in the circle? What is the higher self? You can get on Amazon. You can check that out. All of my other books, you can go to my website, shemel.com. That's SHEM-EL.com. Gratitude. Peace.